On this video, we are going to talk about how to get features in a way that you, one more time, you watching, don't get finessed. Stay tuned. Hey, what's going on? My name is Ruslan, hip-hop artist, creative, entrepreneur with King's Dream, ENT, King's Dream Entertainment, a boutique label I run in Southern California. Excited to be back on the YouTube platform. I'm trying something different today with the way we're creating these videos, where I'm actually just going live on YouTube and I'm kind of chopping it up in the comment section, but I'm also leaving these up. So if you're watching the replay, it's all good. If you're watching this live, in the comment section, I want to hear from you guys. Where are you guys watching this from? What are you? Are you an artist? Are you a producer? Are you a designer, cinematographer? Primarily, I'm going to be speaking to artists today, but I believe this actually applies to a lot of us, because one of the fastest ways to build an audience is by collaborating with other creatives, other artists. Whether you're a rapper trying to get with other rappers, producers trying to get with other producers, working with rappers, however you want to call it, it's actually one of the best ways to collaborate. One of the best ways to build your audience is to collaborate. And I think that's pretty self-evident, but at the same time, it could also be problematic. It could also be a way for you potentially to get finessed out of some money. And I'm going to talk about some of the best practices in how to collaborate, how to build with other artists, how to gain value with other artists, and do it in a way that it's mutually beneficial, two, everybody levels up, and give you some real practical tactics. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as I can, but again, be patient. It's live, so it's all good. In the comments section, let me know where you're watching this from. What are you creatively, all that kind of good stuff. So before I go into that, I got to let you guys know, Paul Russell brand new album is out. It's called Once in a Dry Season. Paul Russell is an artist of mine on King's Dream Entertainment, and we have some very, 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 very fly merchandise that I wanted to tell you guys about. It's still on sale, $24.99 for a Once in a Dry Season shirt and deluxe CD. And you can pick that up on the website, a couple different design options. And we also got the hoodies for $39.99, free shipping, digital copy and physical copy of the album. So if you want to support what we're doing, man, definitely hop over kingsdreament.com/store, or you could just go to Patreon and support us that way. Speaking of Patreon, I got to send a massive shout out to all the Patreon holding us down. Patreon is a way you can monthly give to support this channel and help support what we're doing at King's Dream Entertainment. It gives you access to a Sunday Zoom call with me, which is basically kind of like a big group video call, and also gives you access to Cut the Line for the Fan Love Friday streams, which is going to be happening tomorrow, where I review your music. So Patreon is super dope. If you're not familiar with Patreon, you should get on Patreon. That's in the description. Now, I'm going to check on the chat periodically, and I really want to dive deep into this topic, because I think it's very important. And I think, unfortunately, I think a lot of us are getting kind of a bad rap in terms of how to get features, how to navigate features, when to charge for features, all that kind of stuff. So if you are in the group chat, salute to you. Let me know where you're watching this from. Let me know if you're an artist. What do you do? In the comment section, all that kind of stuff. But basically, I'm going to get into this. If you got questions too, leave them in the group chat or in the comments section. I go through and read all the comments. That's why you want to engage in this, because I actually reply to just about every single comment and all that kind of stuff. So comments, questions. I'm going to try to reply to some of you guys' questions that's in the group chat right now. So I see there's people from all over in the group chat, which I'm super excited about. Now, let's get into it. How to go about doing features and collabs. Now, the point of a feature and collab, what's the point? Well, the point is somebody is doing something similar than you, to you. Someone is creating music, maybe in a similar niche, and you are trying to cross-collaborate, to cross-pollinate audiences, right? maybe somebody has an access to a niche audience that you want access to that same audience. So that's kind of the point, right? And to just create dope art with people that are like-minded. So the first answer I'm going to give you, and you're not going to like, the first answer is to build your buzz and build your clout up to a place where it's mutually beneficial for you to collaborate. Meaning that most of my big features that I've collaborated with, when me and Belief were a group called The Breaks, we worked with Andy Mineo, Lecrae, Shad. I worked with Lecrae on my solo EP called Carry On. It's on Spotify. You could check it out. I never paid for any of those features. Why? 2 reasons. 1, we got our buzz up, we got our clout up, and 2, we built relationships. We were actually homies with the people we were looking to collaborate with. So in a perfect world, you do features in a way where you have something to offer of value, meaning that you're on the come up, you're bubbling, and they do a feature for you, and it's kind of assumed, I guess, that you may need to get them back and hop on a record of theirs at some point, especially if you keep building your career and you keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and sometimes even if you don't get bigger, there is value to you as a up and coming artist, as an independent artist, to a bigger artist, in the sense that it actually benefits someone like Drake. We'll just use Drake as an example, to hop on records of up and coming artists. Obviously, it benefits the artist more. Like if Drake hops on a Migos record before the Migos were the Migos, right? It benefits the Migos. Drake hopped on Versace. Versace blew up because of Drake, kind of, right? It was already a hot record in the streets, but it took off and got bigger and bigger. Same thing with the song Tuesday. Drake ended up signing McConan, but he hopped on that record. The song took off. So yes, Drake hopping on that record really benefits the smaller artist, but the smaller artist also benefits the bigger artist. Why? Because if you're actually on the come up and you're buzzing, you offer a level of credibility and a level of being down with the indie artist, down with the up and coming guy. So there is value to bigger artists hopping on up and coming artists, right? And again, bigger, smaller, subjective. I'm just using Drake as the biggest example, right? There's value to that. So just know that if you have your stuff in order. And so 1, it's about relationships, friendships. 2, it's about having the buzz and the clout to be able to offer kind of that like level of street cred, if you will. You know what I mean? I know that sounds weird talking about in our internet age, but there is something valuable there. So I would say the reason why my biggest collaborations happen, we did a record with Murs, it's the Dream Junkies, all that kind of stuff. The reason why those collaborations happened was because relationships and because we were on the upward trajectory. And it was kind of assumed that at some point, we might need to get him a favor back. And that's what I would say foundationally. Now, 2, not everybody has the proximity, the circle, the networking to build relationships with bigger artists. And not everybody has the clout and the buzz. So if you're a really, really dope artist in Nebraska and you just can't seem to get anything going, there's nothing really happening in your scene, what do you do, right? Like, what do you do in that context? How do you get stuff to pop? How do you get stuff to go? Well, paid collaborations might be one of the best ways to get your foot in the door with somebody that is maybe a bit more established than you. And I'll use 2 examples. Gavin the Hot Rod, who was just here, just spent about 4 or 5 days with us in California. He reached out a while ago. I was kind of checking for his music. I probably heard of his music through Fan Love Friday. Checking for his music. I think he initially I did a feature for him a couple years ago. I didn't charge him very much. I was just kind of like, bro, I know you're a kid. I think he was still in high school at the time. Just kind of give me whatever you can because I liked his music. And that led him to eventually building a relationship with us, coming out here with us, and doing me, him, and John Keith just shot a music video for a song that all of us did together. So he's like, man, I got a free feature. Thanks so much for the free feature, the music video, I'm mixing the record for him. And it's like, it's valuable for me to hop on other artists' music. It's a good look for me. It's a good look for him. He's thinking of it as a free feature. And I'm like, bro, we're homies. I wouldn't even charge you anymore at this feature. If you ask me, what do you charge? I wouldn't charge you because you're the homie now. You're one of my friends, right? Another example I give you is Aaron Dews. Aaron Dews hit me up about 1.5 years ago. to hop on one of his songs. I was like, cool. They gave me my going rate. I was like, dope. No, there was no finagling, going back and forth, trying to negotiate. They just gave me my going rate. His mom helps him with his management. They're patron of ours. Amazing, amazing, amazing family. We did the record. We shot the video for free for the record. We made sure it got on the Rapzilla YouTube page. It did well there. Then him and John Keith did a song together that we put out. And then that song also got repackaged on Honey Blonde. So he was on Honey Blonde. John Keith was on one of his songs. And then he just came out here and spent a week with us as well. And we spent the time with him. And so now I would never charge Aaron Deuce for a feature. He's one of my homies, right? That's how a paid feature can actually really, really work in your benefit if done correctly. Now, the question that you guys have been waiting for. How, Ruslan? You're talking about paid features. Okay, I could scrape up a little bit of money. How do I go about getting a paid feature in a way that can benefit me? Maybe I don't have the relationships, maybe I don't have the buzz yet, but I see the value that if I collaborate with somebody and they give me a shout out on Instagram, they post a thing, maybe it can lead to me doing additional features with them, collaborating, maybe I'll even end up on one of their records or whatever. How do you do that? Well, let me tell you how not to do that first. Okay, let me tell you how not to do that. The very first don't do this. Okay, do not do this. Don't hit up somebody for a feature before you're ready. By ready, I mean practically your music is good, okay? Do not do that. And there are people that have hit me for features that they're kind of acquaintances, they're friends, and I'm just like, bro, you're just not ready. Like you have a ton of potential, but you're not ready to collaborate with me. And so therefore, I'm just not even going to do it because I know it wouldn't really benefit you this early to do a feature with someone that's of a higher profile. It wouldn't serve you well, right? And so I've actually said no to stuff like that. Now, another way of ready is practically like, are you ready with payment and with a song to go? Do not, I repeat, do not reach out to artists for features 6 months in advance. I don't know what I'm going to be doing 6 days in advance sometimes. I could be on an airplane. I could be on a tour. I could be traveling. So do not, I repeat, do not reach out to people and say, hey man, what's your going rate? And we give you a rate and you say, oh, okay, I'll hit you up in 4 months. Don't do that. That's tacky. If you don't have payment in hand and you don't have a song ready, don't reach out. You're not ready. You literally are not ready. This isn't hop on Amazon and get the best prices and deals. That's not what features and collaborations are. You're really trying to have a good first impression to build a relationship. That's what you actually want from this exchange, right? Number two, so the first thing is don't reach out before you're ready. Number two is do not, I repeat, do not only send one song. And don't send just a beat, one beat. Send multiple options. Aaron Deuce sent me 2 or 3 songs. I picked my favorite. I hopped on that. Sometimes we get so romantic about our art and we're like, yo, I just envision you on this song, bro. It's this song right here. It's going to be a hit record, bro. It's going to be great. And it's like, no. Give me options. I want to have options because I might really like a record. I may hate a record. You know what I'm saying? I want some options. So present options with your parts already recorded. That is going to be your best shot of getting back a feature that is dope. And the third point is don't presume that you're going to get free promotion and marketing out of it unless that's been negotiated ahead of time. The reason why point 2 is so important, don't just send one song, send a couple, is because if I'm invested in the record, I'm going to be more down to help you promote the record. I might pop up into the music video. I might share it all over social media. I might even help you get it on a channel with 150,000 subscribers, Rapzilla, which is what I did for Aaron Deuce because I just like the record and I like you, right? And it may start out transactional, but if it's okay for stuff to start out transactional because it will become relational. If you're not looking at these things, if you're not considering these things, odds are you're going to get finessed. Odds are, and I don't even mean like in a negative way. I mean, you're going to finesse yourself. You're going to play yourself because you're not considering these other variables. So consider that. So rule number 1, do not reach out until you are ready with songs and payments in hand. Number 2, have multiple songs. Number 3, don't presume that promotion and marketing and a shout out is involved unless you've pre-establish that. Number 4, I repeat, do not put out these records without getting approval from the artist. You don't understand how many records I've done, and sometimes my verse is slightly behind the beat because they didn't know how to freaking use the reference tracks and line it up to make sure it's on beat. Sometimes the mix is horrible. Sometimes the artwork is horrible. Why would I share that? Why would I promote that? At this point, I did it because I obviously wanted to do it and I needed to get paid, which is a transactional thing, but you didn't take the time to establish a relationship. And now the record is coming out and it's already out and I'm not comfortable with it. This happens all the time. Get the artist approval on the final mix, master, and artwork. You're going to increase your chances of it getting some shine from the artist, okay? Some shine from the artist. And that's what you want. You want a relationship. So I'm hoping this is helping. I'm going to peek in the chat and peep some of the comments. And let's see. There's a good amount of comments. I don't see any questions. If you guys got questions, let me know in the chat. I'll do my best to answer this live as I'm kind of working through this. And so I think this is going to be something that's going to help you. Now, here's the last tip. Here's the very, very last tip that I hope you guys actually apply. Spotify has an algorithm, right? And how Spotify works is when you have followers, those followers get a notification when you put up some new music. Now, they want your music 4 weeks ahead. I have a whole Spotify checklist. I'll probably put that in the description. You should get that. Spotify sends out a notification, and I think it's called like the Discover Music email. So if I'm following an artist, they put out a new song, I actually get an email from them through Spotify. They got a new record out. Sweet. I get a notification inside of Spotify. I'm just using Spotify as an example, which is it's just the most biggest platform right now. If you collaborate with an artist and you put them as a featured artist, that's great. That's good. You should do that. You should credit them. But if you take the time to do the things I just described, build a relationship, and you can put them down as a main artist, which you can't do this through DistroKid. Initially, I'm going to do a whole video about my issues with DistroKid, but DistroKid would only let you select like only specific couple artist names. But if you put your name plus the artist name as the main artist, meaning it's not just you featuring that artist, it's you name and the main name, their fans will all get that notification as well, which could help you. But you don't want to do this unless it's already agreed upon, there's relationship. And they may, if they really love the record, they'll get those monthly listeners. They'll get that record on their profile. And so I just did a record with Gavin the Hot Rod. Shout out to Gavin the Hot Rod, Jacksonville, Florida. He was just out here. We shot a video to it. Me, Gavin the Hot Rod, John Keith. We're all going to be main artists on that song. Why? 1, it's a fire record. 2, I want that record on my Spotify profile. I don't want it to say appears on. I want it to look like a single for me. It was Gavin's record, but I want it to come like a single for me. And 3, I want those monthly listeners. So what's going to happen for Gavin is Gavin, probably has less than 1,000 Spotify followers. I have over 7,000 Spotify followers. I think John Keith is approaching 6,000 Spotify followers. So the moment that record drops, we're going to put it up 3-4 weeks out, all that kind of stuff. The moment that record drops, our followers will get an email and a notification inside of Spotify, and then eventually an email from Spotify, like on the Discover Friday, that increases the chances of it getting playlisted, that increases the chances of you getting new listeners, because now you're on the record. That's a very practical tip, but this is very, very, you got to be very careful. You got to be very delicate. You got to make sure that you actually have a relationship with the artist. But that is a way to finesse the Spotify algorithm to your favor and get your numbers up. So that's a free tactic. So hopefully these are some practical tips that helped you guys. Now somebody's asking, Humility's asking, should the song be mixed before sending it over to the artist? You want to put your best foot forward. You want to consider mixing. You want to consider having an engineer for the song. If you don't know how to mix and you're not an engineer, you should have some type of mix on it. Yes, absolutely. And you should have a plan for who's going to mix and master it. Because if you're in GarageBand and you don't know what a freaking compressor is, don't say you're going to mix the song. Because again, if it's going to be hard for you to then build a relationship and get the song approved. Because if the song sounds terrible, the artist isn't going to be excited about it, and they're going to be like, yo, like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So have a plan for that. Which distributor should I make all the artists and main artists? I just signed up for STEM. And this song with me, Gavin the Hot Rod, John Keith, I think we're going to release it through STEM, and I believe STEM allows me to have unlimited main artists. DistroKid is like, if you have an artist account, I think it's just your name. If you could have a label account, it's 5 artist names for like $60 a year. And then so I actually have the most expensive DistroKid because I want those monthly listeners. So I have my DistroKid is $230 a year because when me and Paul drop a record, we want both main names. When Paul and John Keith drop a record, we want them both as main artists so that we can run those numbers up. Let me see if there's any other questions. Can you do a video specifically on merch? I'm gonna do a class. On merch, so I can't just give that away on merch. I'm gonna do a class on merch. What I'll do is I'll do a video on how to make your first $1,000 from music. I'm gonna do a video on how to make your first $1,000 from music, and then I'll launch like a PDF e-course on merchandise that will be available for the patrons for free. So hopefully that is helpful. How much is STEM monthly? STEM takes 5%. So it's kind of a trade-off. For me, with my bigger releases, STEM may not make sense, but for my old releases or for, a single, I can eat that 5% instead of paying $230 a year. So you kind of got to, do the math on that. Like if you're paying 20, is it make sense to give up 5%? Maybe not generating that much, but you need the main artist, or you need some of the other features. So that's what STEM is. So let's see if there's any other questions. If you got a question, ask now because I'm gonna wrap it up. How do you know you're not getting ripped off? By trying to establish a relationship. Don't say that because that can come off overwhelming. Hey man, I want to be friends. Don't say that. Be cool. Get to the point. Let them know what your budget is. The best way is if you have the money in hand and they want, like, my going rate standard. If you hit me up today, my going rate is minimal $500. Minimal $500. That's what it costs to put me on a feature. But if you hit me up and I need the money because it's tax season, because I got to pay taxes. Nobody tells you about that part when you're self-employed, but every year I write a check to the IRS. And you hit me up, my normal rate's $500, and you hit me up and you go, yo man, I got $400 cash right now. I'll send it, I'll PayPal it to you, and I got a song for you, or I got 3 songs for you, and I like one of the records, then I'm way faster to reduce my rate. That's another reason to have your cash in hand. I don't know why somebody asked that. How do you know you're not getting ripped off? So you're not getting ripped off by negotiating that ahead of time and doing the other things I just said. What's my direct contact info? Just DM me on Instagram. That's probably going to be your best bet. Joey Vantes does features. You said you mess with Joey Vantes. Shout out to Joey Vantes, building a buzz. I don't understand why you guys are asking about Joey Vantes. Another example, too many cats with no name charging way too much for features. Yeah, and the thing about features, like we decide our price from features based on what we are getting. You know what I'm saying? Based on what we're getting. So it's not like we're just making these up. We're developing the prices from what the value is in the marketplace. So hopefully that answers your question. Do you think the ROI from switching the stem for the making all the artists, the main artist, is better than just using DistroKid? It depends on how big of an artist you're going to collaborate with. It really does. I wish I can go back and drop my collab going down like that with Derek Minor and have him as a main artist. Me and Derek have a great relationship, but Derek has like 10 times the amount of Spotify followers I do. I think he has 80,000 Spotify followers. I think I'm approaching 8,000. So imagine if going down like that was packaged as a single, Derek Minor, Ruslan, Derek Minor, John Keith. All of Derek Minor's followers would have gotten that as a notification if he would have been okay with it. So is it worth it? If I would have done that back then, absolutely it would have been worth it. It would have definitely been worth it. So yes, it would have been worth it. And this is the thing about the percentages and people's fees and all that kind of stuff. Like you have to be okay with whatever people are charging or don't work with them. So if you really want a feature and the going rate is $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever, you have to kind of count the cost on that. You know what I mean? You got to see where they're at. Sometimes you can negotiate a bit. If you're willing to make the payment right away, you can negotiate. And if they're willing to be flexible on some of these other terms I talked about in terms of, giving them multiple songs, getting them invested in the song, hopefully getting a shout out, making sure they like the record. Yeah, I think that could definitely happen. Another way is if you have something to offer and say you're a fire producer and you're a great producer and you really want to get me on a record or John Keith on a record, is, man, if you're fire, don't do this if you're not good. Do not do this if you're not good. But if you're fire, because if you're not good, you're just wasting our time. But if you're fire, offer to trade beats. Yo, what do you charge for a feature? Oh, I charge $1,000. I charge $500. Okay, cool. My beats are going for $300. Okay, cool. I'll trade you 2 or 3 beats for a feature. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll trade you 2 or 3 beats and shoot you $100 for a feature. If I really love your beats and you send me a fire beat pack, I might do that. You know what I'm saying? You could take my feature, you could put it out as your producer name, and give me that. Or maybe you're a videographer, cinematographer. Maybe you shoot fire music videos, but you want to get into rapping. Maybe you could trade a music video for a feature. That I've seen that happen before. So don't be afraid to barter as well. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to barter as well. Do you think the ROI? So, okay, hopefully I answered all these questions. Thank you guys for tuning in. Here is the big idea. The big idea is features and collaborations can really grow things for you when done appropriately. When done appropriately. They can get your buzz up, they can get your clout up. It may not always be money. That $500 you spend on a feature, $1,000 you spend on a feature may not always convert to money, but the relational opportunity, when done right, there's a lot of upside there. But there's also a lot of downside. And if I'm gonna be honest, just straight up getting finessed because you was thirsty, you didn't have your junk in order, you know what I mean? You didn't do some of the things I talked about in this video, and you played yourself. So know that you have to be strategic with how you do these things, and the goal should be to hopefully be taken seriously as an artist and build a relationship with these artists who are a bit more established. If you do that, it will work out masterfully. And I've built a lot of relationships with cats that initially just reached out and wanted a feature. You know what I'm saying? And wanted a feature. And so speaking of that, if anybody wants a feature, it's tax season. Give your guy a shout. You can shoot me a DM. You could email me at paidcollab@kingsdreament.com. And I will be doing some features this month as well as some mixing work. I'll do a whole nother video on mixing and that whole world. But hopefully this helped you guys. Hopefully this added value and gave you some ideas on how to navigate. That's Spotify main artist gem I dropped on y'all. That is really one of y'all is gonna have a viral record based on finessing that algorithm. I promise you. If one of you guys actually get the right feature with the right song, the right timing, and they are willing to be listed as a main artist, one of you guys are gonna have a viral record and get a freakishly crazy amount of streams because it'll get playlisted, all that kind of stuff. But yo, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Sorry if this was a little, you know what? I'm not sorry. Why am I apologizing? I'm not sorry because this is good information. If you appreciate the information, consider signing up for our Patreon, copping some merch. Indy Jones 3 is on the way. Don't play yourself. Be ready. We got a bunch of heat dropping. Paul Russell, Once in a Dry Season, is out. John Keith got pretty much a whole album in the chamber ready to go. He really just waiting on me. I don't even know what I'm waiting on. I just need to finish this record, man. But it's tax season, so I got it. You know what I'm saying? Got to drop some gems. Give me a shout if you guys need anything. Peace.